Okay, so every Wednesday for the next 21 weeks, we are going to go through each of the Mike Ferry 21 points in the sales system. So in the last 3 weeks, we've gone over time management, we've gone over prospecting, we've gone over past client centers of influence. Point number 4 in the Mike Ferry sales system is pre-qualifying. Now, before you tune out, okay, before you tune out, because some people, oh God, pre-qualifying. Okay. Pre-qualifying is not a cool, neat, sexy topic. I'm aware. But damn it, I already lost one. I knew it was going to happen. As soon as I said I was talking about pre-qualified, people were going to leave, and we just lost one. Don't go. I understand this is not an exciting topic. Okay, but this is a really important topic, and I'm going to go over a number of points today that maybe you've heard before, but maybe you haven't heard some of these points, or maybe this is a different way of looking at pre-qualifying, how to do it, the value of it, things like that. This is very, very important. Okay, so let me start with this on pre-qualifying. Mike Ferry taught me this years ago from coaching. We were at a every couple times a year, he does a coaching the coaches thing. So we were at a coaching the coaches thing, and he was going over pre-qualifying with us as coaches. And he said something really, really interesting, and I want to share that with you. He said, when you're coaching an agent, if their closing ratio on listing appointments is low, or lower than they want, meaning the number of appointments you go on, how many contracts you get signed. If that ratio, that percentage is lower than you want, this is what he said. The very first thing that we should go over with them is pre-qualifying. Because he said that's probably the number one reason you're not getting as many contracts signed as you want. So just to give you a little insight into the value of pre-qualifying. Now, why is that the case? Okay, so let me explain that to you. Why? And because the question obviously gets brought up, Mike, why pre-qualifying? And here's what he said, I'm paraphrasing here, is that he's going over the pre-qualifying because chances are you're not getting the contract signed from pre-qualifying, and it's one of two reasons. Either number one, because you didn't pre-qualify, or you didn't pre-qualify all the way, you went on an appointment that was not a qualified appointment. So therefore, you really had no chance of getting a contract signed. So your ratio is obviously going to be lower. Now, the way you find that out is if you go on a listing appointment and they don't sign, go back to the listing appointments you went on that didn't get a contract signed and see if they ever listed. Did they ever list with anybody? And if they never listed with anybody, then there was a sign that you went on a non-qualified listing appointment. Now, if they listed with somebody and it was ridiculously overpriced and expired, then you still went on a non-qualified listing appointment. But if they listed with somebody at a reasonable price, then you missed. Okay. So, but pre-qualifying does that. We did this with one of our agents. I've shared this story before a couple of years ago, who was getting really frustrated that, and they were like a really good top producing Centurion Plus agent, but their closing was only 40. So we said, I bet it's pre-qualifying. And she did some research on all the listing appointments you didn't get in the last 6 months. Did they ever list? And what do you know? A bunch of the appointments she went on, almost all of them never listed with anybody. So then I said, okay, so now let's take out the ones that never listed and go over the true listing appointments you went on. What's your closing ratio? All of a sudden, her closing ratio was like 85%. True story. So now the conversation is, really, you can close 85% of the true listing appointments you go on. Your problem is you're not pre-qualifying and you're going on a bunch of wasted appointments, which turns out to be wasted time and so on and so forth. It was a total shift there. So number one, when you're not pre-qualifying, you're going on appointments that aren't real appointments. Number two is that if you don't pre-qualify, you don't know everything you can possibly know about the client going into the presentation, which then puts you a little bit behind the 8 ball, as they say. Because the more information you have about the client, their home, their goals, what they want to accomplish, the better prepared you can be at the appointment, so you're not playing catch up all the time. So because you don't do that, you're not getting the amount of contracts you want to get signed. So that was kind of the mentality of starting with the pre-qualifying, is that you need to get that if you want to increase the closing percentages on the listing presentations you go on. So I just wanted to start with that to kind of give the synopsis of the value of this pre-qualifying. So let's get into a couple other points written down here about pre-qualifying. So as always, they're not necessarily written in any order of importance. This is just how they're written. So first note I put down after that, everything else I just said, was spend more time pre-qualifying and less time building a relationship. Spend more time pre-qualifying and less time building a relationship to build the quality of your business. So what does that mean? That means when you're on the phone with them, most of the time should be pre-qualifying them, going through the pre-qualifying script. We worked on a little bit this morning at the 8 a.m. role play. You know, where are you moving to? How soon do you have to be there? Is this a business move? Is it a retirement move? How much do you want to list your home for? What price won't you go below? Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? You know, pre-qualifying, as opposed to, oh, so you got kids. Tell me about your kids. Oh, wow, they're both in high school. That's great. Your daughter involved in any activities? What about your son? Is he involved in any activity? That's building a relationship. Not to say that that's totally invaluable, but the ratio of pre-qualifying to building a relationship should be very heavy in the pre-qualifying instead of building a relationship, because I don't care what anybody says, pre-qualifying will help you get more deals closed than building a relationship. Just will. Okay. Especially when you're dealing with people you don't know. Most times people are not looking for another friend. Don't take offense to that. Not means you're a bad person or you can't be friendly, but they're not looking for another friend. Most people don't like the friends they already have. Okay. They don't talk to the friends they already have, let alone, oh, let me add another one. They want someone that's going to talk about getting their home sold. Spend more time pre-qualifying, less time building a relationship. Okay. I wrote down here, keep your pre-qualifying script everywhere. Keep the pre-qualifying script everywhere, because you could set an appointment in the office, but sometimes you set an appointment when you're at home. Sometimes you set an appointment while you're in the car. People call your cell phone. You could be anywhere and they say, yes, I'm interested. Come over Thursday at 4 o'clock. You want to be able to go into the pre-qualifying script. Now, I would recommend that you obviously memorize the pre-qualifying script so you could do it anywhere you're at, but you should have that script with you, even if you take a picture of it and have it on your phone. Because most of the time when we're on our phone, we're hands-free. So if you're hands-free, you can go to your phone, take it and look at the screenshot of the pre-qualifying script, and then you have it right there as you're talking to people. Have the pre-qualifying script with you everywhere. Okay. I wrote down here next, look for people that have to sell while pre-qualifying them versus people that want to sell. Look for people that have to sell while pre-qualifying them rather than people that want to sell. Neil says that all the time. Have tos versus want tos. Not to say that a want to can't list and sell their home, but a want to, for an example, is somebody that says, yeah, I'm interested in selling because, you know, the market's so good. So sure, why don't we try to cash out? What are you going to do with the money? I don't know. But I just figure the market's so good. That's like a want to sell. There's no goal at the end of this. Well, yeah, you know, I'd love to move by the beach. Oh, wow. Is any particular reason you're retiring, business move? No, I mean, just who wouldn't want to live by the beach? Okay. Like there's no emotional attachment to that. It's just, yeah, who wouldn't want to live by the beach? I want a bigger house. I want this. There's no emotional attachment to it. So it's harder to get the price you want. It's harder to get the commission you want. It's harder to get the terms you want on a want to sell. A have to sell is, I need a bigger house. Why do you need a bigger house? Well, because we're in a 2-bedroom house right now, and I have twin boys that are going to kill each other if they don't each get their own room. Some of you could probably relate to that. They need a bigger house. That's I have to sell. Okay. I'm in a condo. My wife is pregnant with another baby. We need a house. Okay. Or in reverse of that, we're in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. I just lost my job. We need to sell this and downsize into something more affordable. Have to sells. We're relocating because of a job. So you have to look for the have to sells versus the want to sells. And that comes from, tell me, where are you moving? Why are you moving? How soon do you have to be there? So on and so forth. Now, remember, when you're going through the pre-qualifying script, if there's a red flag on the pre-qualifying, keep going through the script, and then at the end, bring up the red flag. Okay? Get through the rest of the script first before you bring up the possible red flag. So I'll give you an example. You go through the price. What price do you want to list for? Well, I'm not taking a penny under 1.2 million. Okay, as a professional real estate agent, blah, blah, blah. What price won't you go below? I'm telling you, I won't take a penny below 1.2 million. And you know that it's $1 million cap market. So they're $200,000 overpriced. I'm going to keep going. Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? How much do you own the property? So on and so forth. At the end, before I say, great, I'll see you tomorrow at 6, I would say, now, before we get together tomorrow at 6, I just want to bring up one thing, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You mentioned that you won't take a penny below 1.2 million. Is that right? And then I would address that. So a couple little tips on how to address that. Number one, I would ask them where they got the $1.2 million from. How'd you come up with that price? Why is that price so specific? What is it about that price? Okay, that's the first thing that I would want to know. And then the second thing is, again, go back to their motivation is, now you said you're selling this house because you want to get a bigger house, blah, blah, blah. How important really is that bigger house on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's be honest. Probably really only a 4. Okay. Well, then again, I'm not going to get the price. But if they say I'm not taking a penny below 1.2, well, how important is the bigger house? So it's a 9. We need the bigger house. Okay, and I got something there. Maybe there's something there. But another thing you can do, this is my favorite kind of line. Whatever price they say, go below the price and say something like this. You won't go below 1.2 million. Okay, so Mr. and Mrs. Sarah, let me ask you this. Buyer comes in today. 1.1 million, fully qualified, ready to close in 21 days. Would you consider the offer? Go below the price and give them a definite opportunity. Would you consider it? And sometimes they'll say, well, yeah, I mean, if it's fully qualified, 21 days, yeah, maybe. Okay, now I know they're willing to come down. So maybe I have some wiggle room here. But if I said something like that and they go, no, I'm telling you, don't even bother if it's below 1.2, then I might not go on that appointment. I might say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll be honest with you, I don't see 1.2 in this marketplace. But wait till the very end. Okay. All right, the next point I wrote down here, remember that pre-qualifying will set you apart from the competition because it makes you look more professional. Pre-qualifying sets you apart from the competition because it makes you look more professional. And 95% of your competition will not pre-qualify. Think about this. Doctors pre-qualify before they give you any medical advice. Lawyers pre-qualify before they give you any legal advice. Financial advisors pre-qualify before they give you any financial advice. I mean, you would never go to a financial advisor and you just say, yeah, I'm looking to invest some money. And they say, okay, great, give it to me and I'll let you know how it goes. Like you would never do that, hopefully. They're going to ask questions. How aggressive do you want to be? How conservative do you want to be? You know, tell me about your limits. What's your goals? They would pre-qualify you before they would advise you where to put your money. You don't go to a doctor. They're going to pre-qualify you. And that's what you want. So remember, it makes you look more professional. All right. I wrote down here next. This is what happens to real estate agents that don't pre-qualify their appointments. Okay, this is what happens when you don't pre-qualify. Number one, you spend a lot of time frustrated with yourself. Because again, you go on appointments that are not qualified appointments, and that's time, effort, and energy that you spent doing a CMA, driving over there, practicing your presentation, going over all this with someone that wasn't relevant when you could have spent that time trying to find someone else. Or you take an overpriced listing or listings for a short period of time that are not sellable. Now, in today's world, maybe you could take a 1 month listing if it's really priced right and things like that and get it done. Okay. They work too many non-income producing hours. That's the key. That's the key to not pre-qualifying. You're working too many non-income producing hours. And then here's the last point. You significantly reduce your hourly rate of pay. By not pre-qualifying, you're essentially stating that my hourly rate is not that valuable, so I'm willing to just go do whatever to occupy the time. You're reducing your hourly rate of pay. That's what happens when you don't pre-qualify. Okay. Now, here's the basic Mike Ferry rules of pre-qualifying. You're going to pre-qualify 100% of the prospects, no exceptions. Pre-qualify 100% of the prospects, no exceptions. It's a past client, pre-qualify. It's a friend of mine for 30 years, pre-qualify. It's my mother, pre-qualify twice. Okay. You just never know. You never know. Well, why would I pre-qualify my friend, Robert? That seems so, non-friendly. This is a business transaction. Don't get this mixed up. This is where the pre-qualifying fight comes in sometimes with this point. Well, pre-qualifying, you want me to ask my friend if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home? Are you planning to list with me when I come out Tuesday at 6 o'clock? You want me to ask me to a friend of mine? Yeah. This is a business transaction. Just because they're a friend doesn't make it a friend personal transaction. This is a business transaction. How do I know? Sell your friend's home for less money than they want and find out if they're okay with it. I'll bet they're not. A personal transaction. So when it's a business transaction, even if it's a friend, even if it's family, you treat it as a business because they are looking as a business, even though you're a friend helping them. It's a business transaction. Treat it as a business. Use 100% of the pre-qualifying question exceptions. So what I would ask of you, and you don't have to answer, but answer yourself, what pre-qualifying questions do you have a problem asking? Typically, here's the ones. Number one is, if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I come out Tuesday at 6 o'clock? Oh my gosh, that seems like such a direct question. Yeah. Because what if they say, no, I have no plans of listing with you. Actually, I'm just, you're just kind of coming over. Okay. I have some additional thoughts before I go over there. And almost all of us that have ever listed or done any reasonable amount of business have had people go, no, I'm not planning on listing with you. Okay, thanks. You know what I mean? Ask the question. It's not that big of a deal. Or number two, this is the other question. Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? We ask that question. Some people have a hard time asking that question, which I'll never understand why. Well, what difference does it make? Well, because if they're interviewing another agent, I want to then do a follow-up question to ask who. Oh, that's great. Well, do you mind telling me who the other agent is? I want that because then I can look up that other agent to see how my track record compares against their track record. And maybe I have something that I can present to the seller to show why they should list with me compared to them. That's why I want to know that information. I also want to know that information because I want to make sure if they are interviewing somebody else, I'm going to ask, when do you plan on interviewing them? Well, your appointment, Robert, is Tuesday at 6. We're interviewing them Tuesday at 3. My mentality, I'm not saying this is right or wrong. My mentality, I want to go first. I want to go first. So if they say they're interviewing the other agent before me, I'm going to try to jump them. You know what? I actually have some time Tuesday at 1. How about I come over Tuesday at 1 before you talk to the other agent? Why do I want to go first? Me personally, because according to the stats, 70% of people only interview one agent. So if I don't go first, there's a 70% chance I'm not going to go at all. I don't like that game. I want to go first. I can't accept losing a listing that I didn't even get a chance to present. So you have to ask the question. And then the third one that we have a hard time with, are you planning on selling it yourself? Because we think we're planting the idea in their head like this is Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio style. We're planting the idea in their head that they should sell it themselves. One, you're not planting the idea in their head that they should sell it themselves. And two, if you can't overcome that objection, then we got other problems to deal with. But I want to know that because what if, again, they say, well, I have considered it. At least I'm going to the presentation knowing that I have to handle that, preparing myself.
Robert, which question should we be asking when they say, no, we're not planning on signing the listing when you come out on Tuesday at 5 o'clock?
Okay, great. You know what, Abigail, I appreciate that. Is there any reason why you wouldn't sign the contract with me if everything made sense?
Excellent.
I would just want to ask, and I'm not asking in a mean way. I'm not asking a fresh, well, why not? I mean, I'm going out there. Like, I'm not frustrated. I'm not upset. I want to know, is there any reason why you wouldn't sign the contract with me if everything made sense and you were comfortable and confident? And then they might give me an answer and say, well, we're really not looking to list right now. We're really a couple months away. Okay. So at least now I know mentally that this is more of a visit. This is more of an introduction than it is a listing appointment. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go there with the mentality that this is a listing appointment. Here's the key to that point. It's a great actual point. It kind of leads into this. If that's the case, and you know that they're probably not going to sign today, okay, because they're a couple months away, you need to go in with the mentality that this is a listing appointment because it's easier to go down than it is to go up. Here's what I mean. If I go in with the mentality that it's a listing appointment, I'm here. If I get the vibe that the seller's not going to sign a contract tonight, it's easier for me to tone it down and say, all right, let's just keep this as a visit. As opposed to if I go in with the mentality that this is just a visit. I'm now here, and then I get there and the seller says, well, tell me a little bit more about what you do to get home sold. Now I have to jump up to a listing presentation. It's harder to do that than come down. So always go in with the mentality that I'm going as a listing presentation, unless you know that they're retiring in a year and I'm really just kind of doing this as a door knock type of thing in the area.
If they say that they're planning to list within 4 months, would you recommend us to bring our listing agreement and, okay, I know where this is going.
Well, here's why. So this brings up another great question. Thank you, Abigail. 2 things to consider. I'm not listing for 4 months. Okay, great. I'm still going and I'm bringing everything with me. And here's number 1 reason why. Because I'm going to ask the question, is there anything that you need to see or hear from myself or the marketplace that would either move up or push back your list date? because they might say we're selling in 4 months. Okay, great. And then I say that question, they say, well, realistically, I mean, if we saw that the market was flattening out or going down in our area, we could probably push that up a little bit. Okay. And then let's say I go look at the market stats in their area. And if the market's still strong in their area, then I'll say, great, you don't have to list for 4 months, won't list for 4 months. But what if in their area, things are starting to go down a little bit? And I say to them, hey, look, here's the info sparks, here's the market stats. And they go, oh, wow. Okay, well then, yeah, we don't want to wait 4 months. Let's get this done in 2. Boom. Now I'm ready to go. So that's one reason that could happen. The second reason is this. If time permits, I want to get a listing contract signed, even if they're a couple months away. So give you an example. They say, yeah, well, we don't want to list. We're probably not going to list for 3 months. Okay, great. I'm still going to push to get the contract signed. Because realistically, if I got a 6-month contract signed and it listed in 3 months, that gives me 3 months to sell the property. In today's market, if it's priced right, is it going to sell within 3 months? Yes. But by getting the contract signed, I've now eliminated all these other people coming in and trying to take the listing. And I'll tell you what's coming up every year. For those of you that have been around me for any amount of time, you know what I'm going to say. My biggest fear every year is holiday season. Why? Because all of a sudden the families get together and then they find out that cousin Ricky has a real estate license. And even though you had a great contact with them and they told you to follow up on January 1st or second week in December, then you follow up and they go, oh, well, we had Thanksgiving over at our house and I found out my cousin had a real estate license. So we listed with them. My biggest fear every year. I have no idea how often that happens, but it's my biggest fear. But if I get the contract signed, even though we're not going to list for 3 months, I eliminate any other agents coming in and trying to steal the listing. So I'm always going with a contract for those 2 reasons. That's why. Good question. Good question. All right, good stuff. All right, so I wrote down here the next point, whatever I'm on. Pre-qualifying allows you to set standard for those you want as clients, establish minimum standards. So when you're pre-qualifying, it allows you to set standards, but you need to have standards on, based on my pre-qualifying, will I still go on this appointment? And, Abigail brought up some really great questions to have as standards. What if they say they're not going to list with me? What if they say that they're not going to list for a certain amount of time? How overpriced are you still willing to go on the listing is another great question. It's a $800,000 listing. They say, well, we want to list for $850,000. Are you still going? How overpriced are you still willing to go on the appointment? That's a standard. There's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong answer to these questions. You have to set up your minimum standards on how far away they are, price, things along those lines before you decide if you want to go on the listing. Okay. If you pre-qualify, it shortens your listing presentation time. You take a couple minutes to pre-qualify, and when you get to the listing presentation, you already have all the valuable information. So now it's just we're really just going over comps and terms at this point. Otherwise, you have to do all this stuff again, and then trying to do a pre-qualify when you're face-to-face takes longer and then gets more frustrating. If at all possible, try to pre-qualify when you set the appointment. So when you're talking to them, you set the appointment, try to pre-qualify right then and there. The reason being is that sometimes it's hard to get people back on the phone. So if you set the appointment and then you set the appointment today for Friday, you try to call them Thursday and they don't answer, then you kind of run into a thing of, oh my gosh, my appointment's Friday and I can't get them back on the phone to pre-qualify them. Which then brings another minimum standard. If you don't get a chance to pre-qualify them, do you go on the appointment? Me personally, I would not. But that took years and years for me to get to that point. So everyone's different. There's no right or wrong answer. Everyone has to have their own standards. But if you can, try to pre-qualify when you set the appointment. That way it's done with. Okay. I wrote down here on pre-qualifying, if there's multiple sellers, spouses, multiple people on title, multiple people on the trust, whatever the case may be, try to pre-qualify both of them, or all three of them, or all four of them, however the case may be. Now, that doesn't always work, but try it, ask. So let's just say it's a spouse, they're married couple, and you pre-qualify one of them. I would ask, hey, do you mind if I talk with your spouse to kind of go over these to make sure that I'm addressing everything of their concern as well? Now, you don't have to ask some of the questions, right? You don't need to ask the spouse, where are you moving? How soon do you have to be there? Like, you don't have to ask those kind of questions. You figured that part out, you know, but I would want to ask, how, what's their price? Because maybe the spouse has a different idea on price. Have you considered selling it yourself? The spouse may think, yeah, selling it myself is. Would you consider, do you want all your cash out? Oh no, we'd be open to find. Sometimes they're not on the same page. Anyone here ever gone on an appointment and the spouse didn't know you were coming?
I have.
I'm not alone.
I was just thankful I had a partner with me at the time, a coworker that was a male. But yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah, it happens. So that's why even when you're pre-qualifying, if you can, try to pre-qualify the other person, because they might have a different mentality. Sometimes not everybody's in sync. Okay. Now, spouses are one thing, but I'll tell you what, if it's kids, siblings selling a parent's house, you got to pre-qualify all of them, because very, very rarely are they all on the same page. So try to pre-qualify everyone who's a decision maker throughout the process. Okay. All right. A couple more points here on pre-qualifying. Practicing and role-playing the pre-qualifying questions leads to more confidence, better results, more appointments, stronger mindset, more contracts signed. Practicing and role-playing the pre-qualifying questions leads to more confidence, better results, more appointments, stronger mindset, more contracts signed. Now, we're going to get into this tomorrow, 3:30. I'm going to start doing some what I call advanced scripts. And what I do is we're going to take some of the scripts and start going over tonality, upswings, downswings, to really take the scripts to the next level. And pre-qualifying, I might be the first one we do. I haven't actually decided on that yet, because the tone of the pre-qualifying script is so important, which is why you need to practice it. Because if you don't watch your tone while you're pre-qualifying, it can sound like an interrogation. And when you sound like an interrogation, interrogation leads to irritation. So you have to be careful of your tone when you're pre-qualifying. So we'll go over that. Okay, but you need to practice that. Practice that. All right, very good. Very, very good. All right, I wrote down here, it's okay to lose a prospect or an appointment because of pre-qualifying. It's okay to lose a prospect or an appointment because of pre-qualifying, because sometimes we don't pre-qualify because of the fear we might find out we don't have a real appointment, which means that we have to go prospect more. So you have to shift that mentality that it's okay to lose a prospect or an appointment because of pre-qualifying. But I want you to write something down. This is really important. Just because they're not an appointment today doesn't mean they're not an appointment in the future. See, this is where the frustration comes in. Oh my gosh, they're not ready to sell right now. What a waste. Okay, but doesn't mean you throw them away. Put them in your database, because they might be a seller now. Maybe they can't get their price today, but they can get their price in 6 months, a year. You never know. Don't throw the client away. That doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. You shift your mindset. Okay, great. This isn't a today appointment. It might be a down the road appointment, but I got the lead. I got the person. Boom, let's do this. Get them later. But it's okay to lose it today, because the time waste of going on an appointment and doing all the work because you didn't want to get back on the phones that's a killer. That's a killer. All right, and then the last couple points here, pre-qualifying will draw out the objections they have in advance. This way you can be more proactive on the listing presentation. We'll draw out the objections in advance. This way you can be more proactive on your listing presentation. Remember that knowledge is power. So, but here's the key. This is where you have to listen. They might not give you the objection directly, but it might be indirectly. Give you a point. How much do you want to list your home for? $950. And you know it's a $900,000 market. They didn't tell you that price is an objection, but they just kind of told you that price wasn't going to be an objection. Do you have any questions before I come out? How much do you charge? Now, first of all, never answer objections over the phone. You'll never win, ever. But at least you now know, okay, commission's a thing. Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? Well, I've considered it. Okay, for sale by owner is going to be an objection. Are you planning to interview more than one agent? Yeah, we are going to interview one other agent. They're a local agent. They live in the neighborhood. Okay, great. So they didn't tell me the objection directly, but I now know I have to prepare for the objection that they're interviewing another agent that's local to the neighborhood. Which I want you to know, I actually wrote a new objection handler for that the other day. I have no idea if anyone's going to like it, but I thought it was pretty good. All right, but they'll give you the objections in advance if you're listening and you're asking all the questions. And remember, knowledge is power. Okay, there you go. And then I wrote down here, when pre-qualifying, if their answers are vague or unclear, don't be afraid to ask additional questions to determine their motivation. If their answers are vague or unclear, don't be afraid to ask additional questions to determine their motivation. An example of that would be, where do you plan on moving to? Well, we're moving to San Diego. How soon do you have to be there? I don't know. Ask additional questions. Okay, well, tell me more about that. I mean, do you need to be there? Is there a certain time frame that you have to be there? Why are you moving to San Diego? Well, it's for a job. Okay, when does your job start? Like, don't be afraid to ask them additional questions if you're getting vague or unclear answers, because some people will do that. The last point on pre-qualifying is pre-qualifying can help you determine their personality style if you're paying attention. And I'm not going to go into the value of personality styles now. We'll talk about that more another time. We've talked about it for some of you that have been around for a while a lot, but it'll help you determine their personality style. There's 2 questions on the pre-qualifying script that will help you determine their personality style. First question is in the script is number 2. Are you planning to interview another agent for the job of selling your home? That will help you determine their personality style. Because if they say no, driver. If they say, well, we always interview 3 people before we make any decisions, analytical. Oh no, Robert, you're my guy. We're definitely not doing anything like that. Come on over, let's do this. Expressive. Long answer to a short question. Well, I'm not, I think you're our guy, Robert, but my spouse has a friend. Amiable. They don't want to tell you no. They don't want to tell you yes directly to you. They're going to blame it on somebody else. So that's the first question. And then the second one is, will you describe your home for me? Oh my gosh, this house is amazing. We did all this, we did that, we did this, blah, 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 blah. Expressive, super excited, wonderful. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,526 square feet, 6,516 square foot lot, analytical to the T, numbers. It's great. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, around 2,000 square feet, move-in ready. Driver, boom, to the point. Oh, it's a wonderful house. It's got bedrooms for all 3 of our kids. They grew up here. We've had a lot of family events here. It's great for a growing family. Amiable. We love, kumbaya, all that stuff. Now you have their personality style, so then you can adapt your presentation to the personality style, which will help you get more contracts. Questions on anything I went over? Okay.
No, but I do have a quick question.
Go.
I had a scenario that happened with the client that I went to go show up to sell the house, because I had spoken to the husband on the phone, came to find out the husband was trying to sell the house, but he wasn't on title. So I came to realize, how could I have prevented myself from going on that listing appointment when I asked him all the questions on the phone, and I asked if all decision makers would be present, and he said yes, and that they wanted to move. But then when I got there, she was surprised, like the deer caught in the headlights, and she was not on the same page and never wanted to sell the house. He was trying to sell it without her knowledge. So how,
Fun times.
aside from that, should I have just tried to pull up title before going on a listing appointment so I can always verify? Or
I mean, you can, I mean, that it's a good idea to pull up a property profile or a title report to find out who's on title. But a good question to also ask on top of that would be, who else are decision makers? And then ask them, do you mind if I talk to them prior to the meeting so I can address any of their concerns?
okay, thank you.
Now, they, in that particular case, they would have not given you their number because they're trying to sell it without them. But you can at least ask the question and see if maybe they'll that kind of puts them on the spot.
Okay.
But yes, pulling a title report can always do that. And then you just ask them, hey, I noticed this person's on title. Who's this?
Yeah, that was the first issue for me. So like I said, never
Happens.
experienced that, but I was like, wait, what?
It's crazy. It's crazy. That stuff happens all the time. People don't even know that someone's trying to sell the house, which
Thank
is
you.
mind-boggling to me. But crazy world we live in. All right, everybody, good stuff. Well, hopefully there was one or two or nothing that you got out of that, but you know, what are you gonna do? But thanks for being here anyways, and hopefully at least got you through your lunch.
Great job, Robert.
Thanks, Ray.
That was great, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah, right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So we have a whole afternoon still of prospecting. I got Josie at 1:30, Andrea at 2, Tess at 2:30. I got Valerie at 3:30. So there's a 1, a 3, and a 4 available. Does anybody want any of those time slots? Nope. Okay. All right. Good job, everybody. Keep up the great work. We're rocking and rolling. I'll get a video in the background here. Just give me a minute until Josie goes at 1:30.
Hey, Robert,
Yes.
I'll take the 1 o'clock, man. I got some time to go to 1:30.
Woo! Go, Chris.
Hey, children, I'm going back on the phone. Can you guys be quiet now? Ocean, come here. Come here. Sam, I'm going
That
back
is
on the phone. I'm
hilarious,
live right now.
Chris.
See all these people right here? You see, these are my friends. See? Okay, so you go to school, go to class now, okay? Okay, see you. Go. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Kids, bro. All right, let's go. Where was I doing earlier? You know what? Let me try to call from this morning. I'm gonna go back to hit the expire from this morning that didn't pick up. Let's do 2 lines, 5 rings. You know what? 4 rings. Take all the filters out. Right. Hopefully we'll get some pickups more. All right, let's go. Hello? Hello? Oh. Hello? This is Mauricio? Carlos. Okay. Bad number. Salvador Gutierrez. Salvador. Hello? Just Hi, is this Daryl? Five 5576 Daryl DAR. Yeah, DAR. ELL. Hello, is this Rodney? Hi, Albert. Voicemail. Hi, good morning, or excuse me, good afternoon. My name is Chris. I'm a realtor calling. Apologize if I have the wrong number. I was looking for the property owner on Arrow Boulevard, Unit 27. That wouldn't happen to be you, would it? Oh, you don't have a property. Gotcha. I appreciate it. Let me know. Yeah, I thought it was a bad number. Hello. Yes, hi. Yes, absolutely. My name is Chris. We haven't met. May I speak with the property owner on Arrow Boulevard, Unit 27? That wouldn't be happen to be you, would it? Ah, I got you. Okay, thank you. I didn't hear you say it was a Chinese restaurant. Hello. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Chris. We never met. I was looking for the homeowner on Sagewood in Marietta. Would that be you? What's that? Oh, you're busy now? Okay, I'll talk to you later. Hello. Hey, Robert, if you can hear me, you're still recording. Hello? Hi, is this Russell? Nope.
Hey, Cindy? Cindy?
Okay, I'm gonna change list. No one's picking up on this one either. Let's go with something easier. Talk with people and haven't done in 20 days, having contact in 90 days. Okay, 2 rings. All right, let's go. Hi, is this Roberto? Oh yeah, Roberto. I'm sorry. My name is Chris. I'm with Century 21. We spoke in the past. Just want to reach back out to you and see if you guys have any thoughts of selling your home this year in Canyon Terrace. No? Okay. Okay. I appreciate thinking about that. Do you have any plans like in the near future at all, or no, or just pretty much good? Okay. Well, thank you for you. You're set. Good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Have a good one. Hey, Robert, can you hear me?
We can hear, brother. You're not alone.
Oh, no, I
Awesome.
meant Robert. We're still recording.
Well, you're the Expire expert, so we're recording you.
All right. Well, if I have somebody to pick up, then maybe. Changing list. Hi, is this Jessica? Oh, great, Jessica. My name is Chris. I'm a local real estate agent here in Chino with Century 21. We spoke in the past. I just wanted to reach back out to you and see if you might have any thoughts of making a move this year. No, okay, I appreciate thinking about that. If you ever make a move, though, when do you think that will be? Oh, really? Did your plans kind of change back then last year? What you guys trying to sell? Okay, okay. I guess the job in Tennessee, is that ever went to fruition or not really? Got it. Okay, I appreciate your time. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, come on, man. Why the heck they kick me off? It's on a roll. Hi, is this Mary? Hello?
Robert? Robert or Cindy? Chris, I'll take it now.
Hi,
Thank
is this
you.
Carolyn?
Robert? Robert? I'm trying to get your attention. Okay.